When we talk about civil government, I think we should first of all realize that it's a blessing. God established civil government as a blessing to human beings to protect us against the great evil of anarchy, when people do wrong and bring harm to other people and there's no legal or effective authority to punish wrongdoing. So according to Romans 13 and 1 Peter 2, God instituted government, civil government, to punish evil and encourage good, executing justice on wrongdoers and defending the weak and defenseless. As far as the responsibility of a Christian citizen is concerned, Paul says in Romans 13, let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God. So Christians should be subject to the government. I think that means in general we have an obligation before God to obey the laws that government gives to us, except when the government commands us to sin. And we have a number of examples in the Bible where God's people disobeyed the government. The Egyptian midwives who kept alive the baby boys that were born to the Israelites in the early part of the book of Exodus, or Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who would not bow down to the golden image in the book of Daniel, or Daniel himself, who disobeyed the command not to pray to anybody except the king, and he prayed openly to God in Jerusalem. Esther, who disobeyed the decree of the king, King Ahasuerus, and she walked uninvited into the king's presence, risking her life, but in doing so she saved the Jewish people from destruction. Or the apostles in the early church in the book of Acts, where the ruling authority for the Jewish people, the Jewish Sanhedrin, commanded them not to preach the gospel, but Jesus had told them to preach the gospel, and so they said, we must obey God rather than men. So all of those examples show that there are times when God's people disobeyed a law of government that was commanding them to sin, and the narrative in Scripture views that action with approval. So we should be subject to government and generally obey its laws, but where it commands us to do something contrary to God's direct, clear moral teachings, then we should disobey.